Welcome to TERRA at Home with your host, Chris Moretti.
Good morning and welcome to TERRA at Home. We're getting ready for Christmas, as you can see, and as we approach this time, it's time to think about decorating inside the house, not only with decorations, but of course with live plant material. We're joined by Regional Greenhouse Manager Amii Dominato. Thanks for being with us as
Thanks
always,
for having
Amii.
me again.
It's always a pleasure to work with you because we get to see all this great stuff that we have to work with inside our homes. So let's talk about the idea of decorating indoors with plant material for the Christmas season. You've got some great examples here.
Yeah, we've got lots of different choices. Lots of, taking a regular house plant and making it a Christmas house plant for us. We've got our traditional poinsettia that we can use and dress up. Different greens that we can do. Lots of different things that we can use.
So it doesn't necessarily need to be a Christmas plant, a traditional plant, in order to be dressed up for Christmas. So we've got examples of that up front where we're working with cyclamen, which can be considered a holiday plant, but it can also be Easter. It can be anything you want it to be.
Absolutely, yeah.
And you've got it matched in some really festive decor.
Yeah, this year, cyclamen is a popular one. A lot of people like it. The flowers are so crisp and clean and elegant, so a lot of people do like it. This year we're pairing cyclamen with the Tiffany blue.
Beautiful.
It's a theme that we have inside our stores with all the ornaments and outdoors as well, so it's something that we're doing, and the blue just really brings out the white cyclamen, I think.
It's beautiful, and it's crisp and clean and doesn't really need to be traditional Christmas. So maybe for someone who may not celebrate Christmas or someone who's not quite ready to deal with Christmas yet, it can be winter, and that can remain in your home all the way through January and February.
Yeah, this one's perfect. With the blue bow, it looks more winter ice looking, and then come January, you remove the bow and you've just simply got a white cyclamen.
Beautiful. So, we've got more examples over here where we've matched to themes. So let's think about that for a second. Earlier in the season, we talked about different themes in our greens arrangements and in our inside decor. So you've gone into the greenhouse and done the same thing. So now people can find a theme of a tree or a wreath that they like and then match that throughout the whole home.
Yeah, in most of our homes, our Christmas trees are themed. We've chosen colors. We've done that on our own. So then what we do is we take the arrangements and we try to tie them to that. So what we did this year is we tied them to the tree themes that we have within the store. So we've got the Tiffany blue theme. We've got one called sassafras with the purple. So we've done that. We've also gone more natural and done the burlap. So they all pair to themes that we do have in our store, as well as our outdoor greens arrangement. So if you really like a look and you want to carry it right through, perfect way to do it.
That's great. Let's talk about the burlap out front here. We've got a beautiful cypress with some burlap wraps and a brown bow. I gotta tell you, it's my favorite look for Christmas.
Yes,
and burlap is a big trend. Naturals are a big trend.
Yes, this year that's what you're seeing in all the magazines, home decor magazines and everything. It is a trend and it's very popular. That's definitely my favorite look for the season. The cypress is wonderful because it's something that's going to take you right through. You can have it for Christmas, but you can also take it right through January, February, and it's a perfect accent.
It is lovely. So whether it's cypress or you choose that pot look with something like a cyclamen, or even go the whole 9 yards and perhaps your tropical schefflera at home wants to be dressed up for the holidays, you can do that too.
Yes, you can. Yeah, it's perfect.
So let's talk about more traditional. So obviously the poinsettia. Here she is. She's the Christmas classic. We know and love her.
Thousands and thousands grown here at TERRA.
Yes, and we do them well. But I think maybe for some people, the automatic assumption is that poinsettias are old-fashioned.
Yes.
But it doesn't need to be that way.
No, absolutely not. There's so many great things that you can do with poinsettias. We do them 100 different ways here at TERRA, right from planting them to adding Christmas greens around them. So lots of different things.
So if you want a poinsettia all by itself, of course, with the wide array of pot covers, and then you mentioned Christmas greens can be dressed up as well.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites, is taking a traditional poinsettia and adding some cedar, some pine around it. Gives you the nice smell inside and that true Christmas feeling.
So if you chose to, you could always do that at home yourself if you decided you wanted to do a poinsettia dressed up with some greens. But of course, if you come here, our custom planters can do it, and you can find it in the store too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. That's wonderful. So let's talk about how we can use this poinsettia in a way with a combination of other plants. So we've got a nice, clean, contemporary pot here, and what are our options basically when we're going to plant this with something?
Well, basically, you're choosing a pot and you're adding some potting soil, and you can pretty much combine any of the Christmas items at this point. They're fully grown, a poinsettia is finished, so you're not growing it, you're maintaining it. So feel free to add any items you wish. I really like the different greens here, so adding something like a cypress in with the poinsettia, so maybe we can...
So we'll go with that. We'll go with our cypress and our poinsettia.
Take them out of the pots here, and then just do something really simple.
So inside, as Amy mentioned, it's just a simple indoor potting mix. It's a nice... easy draining mix, so that's ideal for growing inside.
Yeah.
Okay.
So just adding, we'll just dig in this cypress.
He'll be our showpiece in the middle.
Yes, we'll do that. Just adding in the poinsettia right here beside it. There's certain little things that we can use in the Christmas season, the little ferns and so on. They're really fun to use.
They're
and
lovely.
Very easy to work with, because I can do things like just yank them apart and spread them out in the arrangement. So it fills up my arrangement for
That's lovely.
Something like that, the nice Christmas moss, and if we wanted to, we could just add a little bit of ivy to trail down the front here.
Which you teach us in every season, Amy. You teach us about thrillers, fillers, and spillers, and the same rules apply here with an indoor arrangement.
Yes, absolutely. We've got our nice thriller here. We've got our fillers, and then obviously our ivy as a spiller down the center there.
That's fantastic.
And we can add other little touches. We can add pine cones. We could add a nice bow, things like that, depending on our decor. Right?
Perfect.
And just tie it right in. Great gifts for people when you housewarming, Christmas parties, things like that.
So with an arrangement like this, if we have planted it ourselves or picked it up ready-made, which is another option, of course, care of something like this, do all of these plants have individual requirements? Is it going to be a pain to take care of this, or can we manage it?
You should be able to manage it. Like I said, they're all grown plants, so you're not growing them, you're maintaining them. So just water as they dry out, keep them in a nice bright indirect light is probably best. And that's really it. We don't need to be fertilizing through the Christmas months.
Okay.
Once they're already ready and in flower, you're good.
So keeping them evenly moist is probably the best thing we can do,
Absolutely.
and not over caring for them, and we should be all right.
Any of these indoor plants, keep them away from your front door and your heat vent, really, is the big thing.
So the rules are the same for, say, a cyclamen or our cypress over here. Bright indirect light.
For the most part.
Fairly regular watering, but not too wet, and keeping them away from draft.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, for the most part.
We've got one more item I want to make sure we mention here. So that's our lovely arrangement, and again, you can make that yourself or pick one up already done for you. Or if you've got a special idea, our custom planters can make it for you too.
We'd be very happy to, yes.
Over here, we've got an example of an indoor topiary, which I love. It's clean, it's contemporary, it's simple, but it's elegant.
Yes.
What plant is this that will grow inside?
That one's called Eugenia, and that's exactly what it is. It's a topiary. It reminds us a lot of the outdoor boxwood, so that very clean contemporary look that we see quite often out front of the house. A lot of people like this look for a corner table or on a mantle or something like that, and they're so wonderful because they actually will go right through the year like this. You can prune them, keep them in the nice perfect ball shape, and you could have it all year long.
It's lovely.
So,
I just love it, and it's kind of, it's basically your indoor boxwood, basically.
Yes. Yeah. We see them artificial everywhere, but a lot of people really want the live plant, and that's what we're looking for. This is it. This is definitely the way to go.
That's wonderful. So we've got it dressed up for Christmas, of course, in the holiday pot with the ribbon. But as you mentioned, if you want to discard that and move on for the rest of the season, you've
by all
got
means,
it there.
yeah, exactly.
That's fabulous. Thank you so much, Amy,
no problem.
for
Thanks for
bringing
having
us
me.
all this great stuff. Coming up after the break, we'll hear from Hamilton Food Share about what's happening in our community in Hamilton with hunger in the holidays. Stay tuned.
Come and explore the new Terra, where color lives.
AM 900 CHML is giving you more news when you want it most. Non-stop news weekday mornings 5 till 9, weekday afternoons 3 to 6, with weather and traffic on the 9s. Hear about it first from AM 900 CHML, Hamilton's news talk leader.
Welcome back to Terra at Home, where we're now joined by Rachel O'Reilly from Hamilton Food Share. Rachel, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
let's start off. Hamilton Food Share. What does Hamilton Food Share do? What is this organization?
Hamilton Food Share is a food bank, and we're an umbrella organization. We have 9 member agencies, many of whom you've heard of, the Good Shepherd Centers, Wesley Urban Ministries, Mission Services, St. Matthew's House, just to name a few.
Right.
And Hamilton Food Share raises food for all the emergency food programs in the community. And when I talk about emergency food programs, I'm specifically talking about food banks and hot meal lines.
Okay. So not just food banks in a traditional sense, but actually different types of programs, different outlets for food in the community.
Food banks and hot meal lines.
Okay, so let's talk about the need for something like Hamilton Food Share in a place like Hamilton. What are some of the issues of hunger surrounding our area right here?
Well, I think the amazing thing about Hamilton Food Share is that we raise each year more than 2 million pounds of food, which is distributed to our local community.
That's an amazing amount of food.
It is a huge amount of food, and when you consider at the food banks, each month we have more than 18,400 people who access a food bank every month in our community just in order to survive.
Yeah.
Hamilton Food Share actually is responsible for raising approximately 40% of all the food that's given out by our member agencies across the city.
That's absolutely incredible. So obviously Hamilton Food Share is a vital part of the network of this community when it comes to feeding people.
Yes, I actually think that Hamilton Food Share is the voice of hunger in our community.
Yeah, which is an important thing, obviously. Yeah. Now, as we approach the holiday season, generally speaking, need grows, is that right?
Yes, I mean the need, I think, which is devastating for food banks, is that the need goes 365 days a year.
Yeah.
There is added pressure at Christmas because in addition to what food banks normally do, we also raise food for the actual Christmas hampers.
Right, okay, so that's a big thing. Where does all this food come from?
Oh, well, the food comes from every sector of our community, people from every walk of life. And what I mean by that is Hamilton Food Share is a reflection of the community that we live in.
Yeah.
And we have donations from businesses, from organizations, from individuals, from schools. People come and they will give in a myriad of ways.
Yeah.
Businesses, for example, may have an employee fund or a corporate fund, and they will make a very generous donation to Hamilton Food Share. Recently, we just finished the Tim Hortons Smile Cookie campaign.
Yes, which is a big thing.
It was a huge success, raising $92,000 for Hamilton Food Share.
That's incredible.
Yes, and just last week, Hill Park Secondary School, the kids put on a pasta dinner and then they donated the proceeds to Hamilton Food Share. So we have people that make donations in every way possible.
Yeah. We talk about monetary donations and raising of funds for Hamilton Food Share. How are those used to get food, and where does it come from?
Well, I think the really exciting thing about Hamilton Food Share is that every dollar that's donated raises $5 worth of food. It generates approximately $5 worth of food.
So how does that work?
Okay, well, I'll tell you. we raise food in 3 different ways. We have our food recovery program, and that's where the lion's share of our food comes from.
Okay.
And that's where we receive very large donations directly from the food industry. And the best way for me to explain this is to give you an example. Hamilton Food Share has a warehouse that is more than 16,000 square feet.
Okay.
We've got built-in industrial-sized freezers and coolers. Each month, Hamilton Food Share receives as a donation approximately 7,000 liters of milk.
Wow.
Now, if I was going to raise money for that, that would cost approximately $14,000. We have a refrigerated truck, and this donation that we received came as a result of my executive director, Joanne Santucci, and she brokered a deal with the wholesalers, farmers, and the producers.
Okay.
So this donation actually, what happens is each month our driver goes out, collects the donation, brings it back to Hamilton Food Share, and then in turn it's stored in our industrial sized coolers and distributed to food banks and hot meal lines across the city. Well, that donation ends up costing us approximately $500 in costs between going out and collecting it and in terms of storing it. So that's one way that we raise it with food. The other way is that we actually do bulk purchases of food.
That makes sense.
And with wholesalers. And just recently, we have started a program called Community Hamilton Harvest, where Food Share has gone into partnership with some of the local area farmers.
That's great. So the actual producers of food within the Hamilton community have a chance to give directly to Hamilton Food Share and work in cooperation.
Yes.
That's wonderful.
Yes.
How about individual citizens? If people want to help and want to get involved in helping Hamilton Food Share, what are some of the ways that they can do that as private citizens?
Well, this actually really excites me to talk about, because I actually believe that one person can totally make a difference. And one by one, we can all be responsible for making poverty history in our community.
Yeah.
There's so much that people can do. I mean, after they watch this program, because of your generosity, having Food Share here as a guest today, they could actually go on our website and they can make a donation directly to Hamilton Food Share.
Great.
They may decide, maybe their husband or they themselves are involved with the service group.
Yeah.
And they may say, well, I'm going to initiate getting my service group involved with Hamilton Food Share.
Definitely.
They may decide to do a food drive at work. They may decide that they really want to do an awareness campaign and embrace the issue of hunger. Anything that people do to make people aware of this issue in our community is helping.
And it makes a big difference.
Huge.
You mentioned raising awareness, and I'm sure that's something that's a really important priority for you at Hamilton Food Share.
Yes.
Getting the issue of hunger across as an important thing in the Hamilton community.
Yes, it is. Every day that we have new people joining the fight against hunger, it means that for the 18,423 people who rely on a food bank every month, it just means that we are helping to provide much needed food for them.
Okay. Volunteering, is volunteering an option for people?
Absolutely. If people call into Hamilton Food Share, there's a myriad of ways that they can get involved.
That's great.
With volunteering.
So the website, Rachel, if people do want to find out more information, where do we go to find out more about hunger in Hamilton?
www.hamiltonfoodshare.org.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for being with us here this morning. And for all of you at home, of course, check out Hamilton Food Share this holiday season and help out where you can. Join us after the break for some fun in the kitchen with Chef Rachel.
Come and explore the new TERRA, where color lives.
AM 900 CHML is giving you more news when you want it most. Non-stop news weekday mornings 5 till 9, weekday afternoons 3 to 6, with weather and traffic on the 9s. Hear about it first from AM 900 CHML, Hamilton's news talk leader.
Welcome back to TERRA at Home, where we're joined now by Chef Rachel Johnstone in the kitchen. Hi, Rachel.
Hi, Chris.
For a change, we've got something started already. We've got chicken in the pan. What are we making?
Yeah, today we're making a white chicken chili.
Nice.
So I wanted to get the chicken started so we can see most of the process going here. The chicken, I have thighs here.
Okay.
So in a pan with hot oil, they'll take about 3 to 5 minutes per side.
Okay.
So I wanted to get those started. They're ready to be flipped.
So you're working with boneless chicken thighs?
Yes.
Is there a reason you chose that particular piece?
Boneless, skinless. I like the boneless, skinless. They don't dry out as easily as breasts, in my opinion. So I think they're good for something like a chili that's going to simmer for a bit.
Yeah.
They'll stay quite moist.
Nice.
But again, I mean, you can use whatever you like. This is my preference. Okay, so those are nice and browned on the one side because we've got them going.
Okay.
Quite a high sizzle there. What I'm going to do, Chris, is turn on this other burner, transfer the chicken over here.
Okay.
So we'll keep that going.
Okay.
And we'll get this pot on here. When the chicken is almost done, doesn't have to be fully cooked because it is going to go back in the pot.
Yep.
We're going to transfer it to the plate, let it cool for a bit, cut it up after.
Okay.
But what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in the oil and all the drippings into this pan here.
Yeah, you don't want to lose all that goodness, that flavor.
Right. Now, if you had a bit more time, I would just suggest to do it in the same pot.
Okay.
Brown your chicken in a big pot and then add everything into there. But
Okay.
in this case, we're going to use a different pot. So I just have a little bit of oil in here now. And some white onion chopped up fine.
Okay.
And garlic.
Naturally.
Always want some garlic in there. So this is about 3 cloves of garlic.
Just a bit of a fine chop, basically.
Right.
Okay.
So we'll just sweat this off for a moment until the onion gets a little clear in color and the flavors start to come out.
It smells great already. And I'm getting a waft of this wonderful chili smell from this area over here.
So we have here some chili powder that we're working with.
Yep.
And I have some ground cumin.
Okay.
Those are the only 2 spices that I'm using, but coriander is also a nice addition
Yes,
if you have
that would be.
some ground coriander. So at this time we'll put the spices in because we want to make sure that those are cooked a little bit.
Okay, so that was just a regular chili powder and some cumin, right?
Yes. And to your liking, however much you like. Okay, so that's good. We can turn that down a little bit
Okay.
and let those flavors mix together. Check on our chicken here. I think that they're okay to take out now.
Okay.
So we'll transfer it onto a plate.
Still sizzling.
Yep. And like I said, they don't have to be fully cooked, but you want to get most of the cooking done at this time.
Right.
And there we go. We'll just let those cool.
I like that we're
Stick
using
in.
nice full chicken pieces. So obviously you could chop or shred these in order to break them up, which is what we're going to do next.
Right.
Of course, I guess you could use a ground chicken too if that's what you have available.
Of course, of course. So we'll let those cool so we can handle them in a minute. And
Okay.
maybe we'll just give them a nice shred,
Sure.
I would say. Okay, so this is when I just want to add in some of this that'll help. It'll help to, make a base, make a
Nice.
sauce for our chili. And you got all the flavor of that cooked chicken.
I love
There
the
we go.
idea of a white chili. It's sort of a spin on a classic for winter, of course.
Exactly. It's something a little different. And the white obviously is going to come from using the chicken.
Yep.
And we have white kidney beans instead of the red kidney beans or the dark beans that you're used to using.
And naturally, a lack of tomato.
Right. Exactly. So it's going to be all white and green. There'll be a little bit of color obviously because of the chili powder that we put in. But at this time we can just add the beans in. There you go. And I also have some chopped chilies.
Yeah, that's what I think that's what I was smelling. So we got this nice green color chopped chilies.
Right.
And that's going to be
Now these just come in a can.
Okay.
They're not too spicy, so I have 2 cans here, and I wasn't sure if I was going to add them all, but I think I am
all right.
because they're not too hot, so I think it'll be okay.
Now this is an element that you can alter to control the heat, right? So if you just wanted to go with one, if your palate's a little less on the spicy side, then you could perhaps alter it to just go with one.
Of course, of course. Yeah. Are you okay with heat? I'm going to add both
I'm
of
good
them.
with heat. Let's
That's
bring
good?
it on.
Okay,
We're going to
great.
take out that winter chill.
There we go. Great. So that's pretty much it. At this time, we'll just let this simmer a bit.
Okay.
Okay, just on low heat. And meanwhile, we can get the chicken ready.
Right. Okay.
So like I said, I think I'm just going to go with a shred or a fine.
A shred like chop.
Exactly. Exactly. I like this idea better than a chunk, but
Yeah.
whatever you like. So we can just do that with all of the thighs and add it back in.
Great.
If it's if any pieces aren't cooked, then this is where the chicken will finish cooking.
Yeah, right. So, because this is going to all simmer together, and just like any chili, the longer you cook it, the more the flavors meld together, and it can simmer all day if you've gone all day.
Of course.
And it'll become more chili-like.
Exactly. I would say a minimum, if you don't have a lot of time, maybe a minimum of a half an hour or
Okay.
so, 20 to 30 minutes. But yeah, like I say, the longer the longer the better, I think, for something like this.
So this could become a really nice, easy weeknight meal, but it could also, because it's a little different, the white chili, and you could garnish it with fresh herbs, however you like. This could be something that you could serve over the holiday season, perhaps as an appetizer in little cups, or, you know, like a tapas idea. So, I mean, it's something, it's chili, but it's a little bit special.
Yeah, that's a great idea. There we go, so we're almost done with this. Now, after this is simmered for a bit, we can add some lime juice in, a little bit of lime juice. We can do that after, and also adjust the consistency. So if it needs to be thickened up a bit, we can add a little bit of flour and water. If it needs to be thinned out, we can add a little bit of stock. So we can judge that after it's been simmering for a bit.
Great. Sounds good. I like the idea of a bit of lime in there. That's going to be good. A little bit of freshness.
And then, of course, at the end of the cooking, we can decide on what herbs we want to finish it off with.
Right, where would we be without the fresh herbs?
Exactly.
Wonderful. All right, so we'll finish chopping up that chicken. We'll get everything into the pot, let it work for a little while, and when we come back, we'll finish off our chili with the fresh lime, and we'll decide on which herb combinations we're going to finish this off with. Stay with us for more from Terra at Home.
Come and explore the new Terra, where color lives.
AM 900 CHML is giving you more news when you want it most. Non-stop news weekday mornings 5 till 9, weekday afternoons 3 to 6, with weather and traffic on the 9s. Hear about it first from AM 900 CHML, Hamilton's news talk leader.
Welcome back to Terra at Home, where we're putting the finishing touches on Chef Rachel's white chicken chili.
Yes, that's
so
right.
exciting.
White chicken chili. Yeah, so it's been simmering in here for a little bit. Everything looks good. We did not need to thicken it, but we did need to thin it out. So just a little bit of stock, about a half a cup. I just pour a little bit in at a time and get it to the consistency that I like.
So in our instance, we needed to thin it a bit. If someone has it's a little too juicy, a little too loose, how would you thicken it?
I usually just thicken it with a little bit of flour.
Okay.
Mix maybe a tablespoon of flour in with a tablespoon or two of water.
Okay.
Just so it's not clumpy, and then put that in. Cornstarch works as well.
Okay.
Whatever you kind of have on hand, but yeah, so that looks great. I'm going to add a little bit of lime juice.
Nice.
Tablespoon or two.
Okay.
I think we're going to put a little bit of lemon thyme in there as well.
Yes, we decided on our herb blend during the break there, and we're going to go with a bit of fresh lemon thyme inside, and then we're going to garnish with some fresh cilantro, which I think will be quite
that's a
delicious.
nice combination.
Yeah.
So I'll mix the lime juice in there, and this is nice. I like the thyme because it just really pulls off, and you don't have to chop much.
Marvelous. And of course, as always with your recipes, Rachel, we try to enhance them as we can with fresh herbs. It's such a joy having so many at close hand here working within the Terra studio. So
there we go.
Looks great.
My hands are a little wet, so it's hard for me to get these off. But anyways, a little bit of thyme in there.
Great.
And we'll mix it up, and then we can
plate. Of course, as always, you can find this in all of Chef Rachel's recipes available online at terragreenhouses.com. Get those in the bowl. I've got our cilantro ready.
Our ladle here.
What a great spin on a winter classic. I think this is going to become a regular in my kitchen.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks to all of you for joining us. Come right back here next week for more great tips from the kitchen and beyond for the holiday season on Terra at Home.